Because if we can enter into an uncertain world from a more regulated place, so attuning to our emotions, taking care of ourselves when things feel hard, acknowledging when things feel joyful, we are approaching the world, approaching difficult life situations, approaching life from a more regulated place. And so more balanced, right? Emotionally balanced. So we're able to respond from our heart. We're able to process what's coming in and take action if we need to versus reacting, just jumping in blindly or, screaming at somebody or posting some hateful messages or angry messages or coming at someone versus approaching someone with reason. Hi, I'm Biz Cush, a life coach and therapist, and your host here on the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. We're talking to women all over the world who found their way back to themselves, to their inner knowing, to their intuition, to their wisest self. We're exploring how to feel alive, authentic, engaged, and fully present in your life. Let's awaken your wise woman. Hi, and welcome back to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. I'm your host, Biz or Elizabeth Cush, and I'm very happy to have you here. Whether you're a first-time listener, a regular, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the episodes. Thank you for being a part of this community. It means a lot to me, and I just appreciate your being here. And if you know someone who you think might benefit from the podcast, I would love it if you'd share it. Because the more people that listen, the more our messages, our stories get shared, the more I think more gets known about high sensitivity and a better understanding for everybody in the world. Before we get into this week's episode, I just wanted to share I'm super excited that I'm offering an open group on March 14th at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time for highly sensitive women to gather together and hang out. We're going to hang out for about an hour and 15 minutes. And it just feels important to me to offer this space because things feel a little challenging right now. Things feel a lot overwhelming. And so I wanted to offer this space to highly sensitive women to feel like we're out there together and managing, hopefully helping each other manage this difficult time. It's a pay what you can group with a minimum price of $20. You can add more to that if you are able, but I would love to hang out with you on March 14th at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be sharing more about how to sign up for this event, but in the meantime, just mark your calendars. If you're not on my mailing list, join my newsletter mailing list so you will get all the details about how to hang out with me on March 14th. And so today I do want to focus on being highly sensitive, what it means, but also how to really, truly take care of ourselves. Because as highly sensitive women, we have pretty specialized needs in terms of our well-being. And some of that is, our energetic levels. Some of it is managing overwhelm, but there's so much of it that is appreciating what we have, our gifts of sensitivity. And I think that is super, super important to highlight and focus on. And in order to honor our gifts, we do need to be taking care of ourselves. But before we jump into that, I just want to see how you're doing. How are you doing? It just feels like there's so much going on in the world right now, and that feels challenging. I know for a lot of us, the political climate feels threatening and scary. or we have family members that we're concerned about, friends we're worried about their safety. And I feel it too. I do in the client work, but also in my personal world, my personal space. It's really feels really, really important to check in with others, but check in with you and say, like, how are you doing? Yeah. I think in the therapist space, this has been hard, kind of holding for ourselves the uncertainty as well as holding it for our clients. I know in the coaching world, it's also the same. We want to, in some ways, like have the answers or be the support when we also need support. And I just want you to know if you're a helper, a healer, a creative, an empath, a highly sensitive woman, like I feel the heaviness with you. And even more importantly, this is why we need to take care of ourselves. It's really, really important. For me, what has been super helpful, but also a thing that I have to recognize is that I can't be fully tuned into the news all the time because the overwhelm just escalates. All the things I feel like are out of my control, all the people in the world that I'm worrying about, whether it's through, the wars or the fires that were happening in California, or I'm sure there are fires elsewhere. But in order to really be able to engage and learn what's happening in the world, I have to moderate how much I'm taking in because the overwhelm can then just get me to shut down and not pay attention to anything. Just want to scroll on my phone or disappear. So just be mindful for yourself. How much can you tolerate? How much can you take in? And I appreciate this is coming from a place of privilege. Like I don't want to minimize how important it is to be paying attention and be vigilant and active in whatever way that means for you. But I also want you to take care of yourself. So, some of the, I guess, simpler ways of self care, for me at least, is finding time to really listen and acknowledge how I am feeling. Whether I'm feeling overwhelmed or not, whether I'm sad, whether I'm joyful or happy, acknowledging the feelings, allowing whatever feelings that are there to be known, to be noticed, to be embraced, even if they feel like quote unquote difficult emotions, because we all have lots of feelings. And if we're avoiding them, we might not be taking as good care of ourselves as we could. So, if we're taking care of ourselves around the good feelings and the more difficult feelings, that's an amazing form of self care. Because if we can enter into an uncertain world from a more regulated place, so attuning to our emotions, taking care of ourselves when things feel hard, acknowledging when things feel joyful, we are approaching the world, approaching difficult life situations, approaching life from a more regulated place. And so more balanced, right? Emotionally balanced. So we're able to respond from our heart. We're able to process what's coming in and take action if we need to versus reacting, just jumping in blindly or, screaming at somebody or posting some hateful messages or angry messages or coming at someone versus approaching someone with reason. So, one of the practices I use regularly is just placing my hands on my body So often, if I'm in session with a client and I'm feeling deeply, having my hands on my heart, one, to me, helps me tap into my compassion, but it also helps me feel more present with whatever their struggle is. And often I hope that it is also demonstrating that I am feeling what they're feeling, or my feeling is very deep around whatever it is they're struggling with. And often just this gesture, hands on heart, helps me feel more balanced. And so I would encourage you to try it. Another great way with using your hands is one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. And to me, it just allows the feelings to flow from top to bottom, from bottom to top. It just helps me feel more present, but in tune with my body and what my body and my emotions are feeling, how they're feeling inside me. But it also gives me a sense of like, I'm here for me. I am here for me. And I think that's really, really important because we are our greatest resource. We are the place we can always turn to for kindness and compassion and support if we practice that. I recently completed a Reiki master training and oh, it was beautiful. I loved the learning. I loved the practicing. I've been using it more for my own space and my own energy than with clients at this time, but I feel as if I can, using Reiki, I can also send Reiki into my client space to help them feel more regulated. But one of the practices with Reiki that I really love is sitting and imagining or visualizing your crown chakra opening as if there were like a cone on the top of your head or a spiral, like a tornado, but not quite so hectic as a tornado, a spiral opening on the crown of your head, and then visualizing a white light shining down through that opening into your body, down through your face, over your shoulders and down your arms, in through your torso, and this white light going through your pelvis, down your legs, past your knees to your calves, and down to your feet. And I don't know if you can feel that right now, if you could close your eyes and imagine that. But doing that, just I feel energetically alive inside. I can feel that white light energy moving through me. And honestly, I love it. It feels great. And so I would love for you to practice that. And it takes a little imagination, but it really, to me, takes being still and allowing that energetic light to flow through. And although, as a therapist, sometimes it feels complicated to bring in more alternative ways of healing, I think it's really important because we are all so different in our needs, what we need. And so if you're interested in receiving Reiki or, whether it's through therapy or coaching, receiving Reiki or just daily life, craniosacral therapy, amazing. Massage can be so therapeutic. But really bringing your body, your energetic body into the work is so important. Movement is really important. And recently, through my meditations, I have been practicing chakra meditations, opening and aligning my chakras. And that's been really beautiful, beautiful work. It helps me enter my day from a much more grounded place than if I were to just jump into work and not think about it. Even 5 minutes, if you only have 3 minutes, I think it's worth taking the time to slow down and start your day. And it doesn't have to be when you wake up, but start your workday, start your busyness from a grounded place. I think that movement and getting out in nature and just being in the sun can help all of our systems feel more aligned. I know in my Reiki master training, the Reiki master shared that if you are feeling out of attunement, if your system is feeling disrupted for whatever reason, if it's a sunny day, go sit out in the sun, and that's enough to reattune you. And I thought that was so beautiful because for me right now, it's not a sunny day, but even imagining what it feels like to sit outside with the warmth of the sun shining on my body, shining on my face, warming my being. And if you have the luxury or if you are able to walk in nature or spend time in nature, it is so healing to our systems. We were born in nature. We were born to interact and be a part of this planet. And so much of our time is spent indoors and disconnected from nature. And so getting outside to look at the stars at night, appreciating the moon, whatever phase it's in, getting out in the daytime and walking in a place that is natural, the natural world. You know, it could be a park or it could be a forest or path through a meadow, but going to the beach, just being in the natural world can reset our energy, rebalance our alignment, and help us feel more attuned. And lastly, I do not want to forget the importance. I don't want to forget to mention the importance of rest, relaxation, and hydration. Giving our body what it needs, water, whatever it might be, juices, giving ourselves enough fluid is really important because our bodies are so much water and it's important to maintain those levels. But rest is also so important. Whether it's rest or sleep, that helps our brain reset. That helps the neurons reconnect. That helps our whole body. Rest helps our whole body to feel nourished and cared for. But scientifically, it is shown, sleep is shown to improve mental health conditions, to improve health conditions, that sleep alone can be an antidote. And so I just want to highlight the importance of taking care of yourself and getting enough rest. And if sleep isn't the answer, like if you struggle with sleep, working with your doctor to find ways to help you sleep better. And I don't necessarily mean medication, but talking through options. Maybe the room you sleep in is too bright. So figuring out ways to block some of that light or wearing eye shades. I know I often now will wear earplugs because my husband snores a lot and that disrupts my sleep. And our dog sleeps in our bed and he makes noise too. So wearing earplugs allows me to sleep more soundly. But temperature as well. If you're too hot or sweaty, you're going to wake up. So if you can adjust or lower the heat or open a window, finding ways to support you in getting good rest and enough sleep. And maybe that means a nap. I know not everybody sees naps as being productive, but I can close my eyes for like 5 to 10 minutes. I can even do it sitting up. I sleep deeply enough in those 5 minutes that I wake up feeling refreshed. My little quickie naps during usually after lunch, but super helpful. Yeah. So don't forget to put rest on the agenda. Really, really important, especially in a world that is geared toward keeping you busy, managing your to-do list, working. Take time to rest. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention connecting with your community, finding places where you feel like you belong. Really, really, really important. That sense of belonging, whether it's like in the world or in a smaller community, it helps us feel like a part of something bigger. And finding the people in your life that nourish that feeling, that help support you, and you know they have your back, but they are also the people you can go to, whether it's for support or you support them. Like, it's really important to have your community, to find your community, to build your community. And I've definitely been in that process over the last year or so, is just building a community at this time in my life that really suits me. And if that's something you're struggling with, I created it. It started off as a sort of build friendships, but really to me, it's more about building community. So I have a guide, a free guide to help you in steps that maybe you've been struggling with to build your community that helps support you. And so I am also looking at ways to create but host a free community for highly sensitive women. I really resist putting it on Facebook or doing it through Facebook because I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg's not I'm not a big fan right about now. So I'm not really sure what that means, what it looks like, but it is something I am considering. It is something that I'm looking into. And yeah, if you have thoughts or ideas, I would love to hear them. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this community, this highly sensitive women, where we are awakening our feminine, highly sensitive spirit and bringing that out into the world because it's really, really important right now. We need our sensitive souls to be shining out there in the world when there feels like there's so much contention and conflict. So I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope if there are some tips that you took away from today that, yeah, you implement those and continue to take care of yourself. If you want to know more about me or working with me, you can go to my website, elizabethcushcoaching.com. You can also go to Instagram, Awaken Your Wise Woman. That's my handle on Instagram. And if you click on my bio, there's a link to lots of good stuff. And so there's free things. It's where you can find some of my meditations. You can find what it's like to work with me, as well as interviews with me on other podcasts. So I hope you'll check that out. And I hope you will continue to support and be a part of this community. I look forward to connecting with you next time here on the podcast. Thanks for listening to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. The information in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Music by Andy Cush, sound editing by Laura Disler, and show notes by Kathy Cush. If you'd like more information about me, Biz Cush, and the resources shared today, go to awakenyourwisewoman.com.